Hi everyone, my name is Gemma Lloyd and I'm the CEO of Work180. We're an international platform that is connecting talented women with best practice employers. And compared to usual job platforms, we've proven to yield 10 to 50 times the number of applications from women. But it's not just about numbers, it's also about the quality of application as well. And that's particularly true for industries such as tech, construction, engineering, and senior leadership positions, so those really competitive types of roles. So we do three things very, very differently, which I'll take you through, because as we all know, that putting a job ad on a job platform, crossing your fingers and hoping the right person applies, just simply does not work. So the first thing that we do is we provide an endorsement on your organisation. So Work180 isn't just a platform with a woman-friendly badge on it. This badge is earned. So we will pre-screen your organisation on your policies, including pay equity, flexible working, focus on getting more women into leadership positions, and about a set of 15 criteria. This is called our HR health check, which I'll quickly skip to. So this is it here. Now, you go through this form, and look, whether you think you'll pass or not, this is extremely valuable information, because what we'll do is we'll benchmark your organisation against companies of similar industry and similar size. That's extremely powerful. If you know this information, you know what it is to talk about when you're trying to attract candidates, what you're doing really well compared to the industry. But if you're much lower in terms of your, if you're offering much less with your benefits and your policies and initiatives, then it's really powerful to say, hey, look, to your executive, you're asking me to attract more women into my organisation, but this is where we rank compared to all of our competitors. But by no means do you have to be perfect. So it's more so about transparency and authenticity. So that's where the employer branding comes in. So this is our website here, and I'll just go to the employers page, and the Wi-Fi is making me nervous. I'm hoping you don't have to trust me on what I'm about to say. Okay. All right, for the sake of time, I'm going to keep on moving. So I was going to click on the Expedia page. Now, on the Expedia page, there is a workplace initiatives table. This shows you Expedia's pay gap, whether they are happy for you to ask questions, here we go, about flexible working at interview stage, whether they have a target to get more women into leadership position. So as a job seeker, you're able to make really educated decisions on where you're applying to work. But like I said, it's not about being perfect, because different things are important to different people. So for instance, paid parental leave might not be important to some women, whereas professional development or coaching programs might be. And as we go down, after the workplace initiatives table, then there's the information about the culture of the organisation, and then real employee quotes as well. So we do a lot of interviews with employees and getting this information, because research shows that job seekers will trust employees 3 times more than the voice of the corporate brand. Okay. Now, as I mentioned, it is about not being perfect, but it is about a genuine commitment and showing that you're on a journey. So once the employer is endorsed and they go onto our site, over the time that you work with us, we will share information on improvements that your company has made. So for instance, it's a great example here from Fund Apps. So they had a maternity and paternity policy, and then what they did was they called it a paid parental leave policy. Primary and secondary carer made it gender neutral, so men could take up the primary carer role as well. So that's incredibly important. So we share that sort of information through our social media channels, showing the progress that you're making. And HSBC, they passed a certification that we have, a FlexAble certification, which shows they genuinely walk the talk when it comes to flex, and that was something else that we shared through our social media channels. It's also about storytelling. So a lot of employer branding you might see come up on the LinkedIn. It might say, read why Sarah likes working at XYZ company. Now, you see that come up, but really who is going to click on it? So we do something very, very differently. So you'll see here there's a lady, she's wearing high vis, and you'll see the title there is Turning Perceived Weaknesses into Strengths and Other Strategies for Leadership. Now, if you are an aspiring leader as a woman, and maybe you work in mining or construction, that's going to be something that you're going to be interested in clicking on and reading. Now, it's a great piece of professional development material for that person, but all the way through that is how BHP has supported that woman to be able to achieve that. So BHP is a great example of a customer that we've worked with. We've worked with them for over 2 years now, and in that time, they've increased the number of women applications from 10% to 50%. And then how do we go to market to attract the women to our site? So we take a very multifaceted approach. We don't just use one channel to go to market. All right, so first of all, it's social media. So LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. We get 3 million views per month on our social media channels. Our partner network, so we have partners like Women in Transport, Women in Technology. You'll see a bunch here. And these networks, they have an audience of 250,000 women per month. They share our jobs and our content through to their very niche audiences. So to give you another example of that, we've got an event at a tech company next week, and we've had Ada's List retweeting that event consistently. So we've got a group of women in technology coming along to that event, and it's actually oversubscribed. We get a lot of PR as well because we're at the forefront of the diversity discussion. So appearances on Sky and things like that. But the important thing is that we actually make it all about our clients when we get contacted by journalists. So a really good example was recently a journalist called me and said, Gemma, do you know any women that have been fired recently while pregnant? And fortunately, I didn't know any women that had happened to, but I do know it happens often. And I said, I don't know any women that have been fired, but I do know that HSBC just hired a woman who was 8 months pregnant and allowed her to take the leave straight away. And the journalist said, wow, that's amazing. Let's write a story about that instead. So turning a negative into a positive, and there were 2.1 million readers on that particular article. Okay. And then there's the events. So we get very, very grassroots with the community. And we do all sorts of events. It can be closed events for specific groups like Women in Technology, or it can be much wider audiences, and we might do topics like personal branding or mentoring, for instance. These are just some of the clients that we work with. And I'm ahead of time.